All right. So the next segment, I'm going to give it over to you, Andrew, because why don't you tell me how the new 3050 Ti's launch went with on EVGA's Q 3.0?
All right. Well, let me go over EVGA Q 3.0,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'll apply what we learned from what I say, and apply that to the 3050 launch, because that was technically the second launch event that this Q applies to. So EVGA Q 3.0, we did talk about it in a previous podcast about 2 weeks ago. So
Mm-hmm.
you might want to go back to that. It covers more of the basics of it, but I'm going to actually give the key points anyway. So Q 3.0 is a new way to sign up for the notify list for getting these new GPUs through EVGA.com specifically. They've had a notify system in place since the 30 series launch, but it was all based on time.
Mm-hmm.
So it was in order of who signed up first, and that was the only factor. So Q 3.0 changes that. And the key points are the customers may have up to 2 VGA notifications at a time per person. So if you are considering, let's say, a 3060 Ti and a 3070, you could sign up for one of each. And it's one notification per GPU chipset. So you wouldn't be able to sign up for both 3050 SKUs, for instance, but you could sign up for a 3050 and a 3060. But
Mm-hmm.
it's also important to note that this queue applies to future GPUs, notifies going forward. So, as has been in the past, EVGA Elite members get 24-hour access ahead of non-Elite members to this notify system. I've made it a point in previous videos as well, but if you are not an EVGA Elite member, you should sign up now. Chances are you're already eligible if you own an EVGA product. Just make sure you register it to your account and then head over to the EVGA Elite page and enable Elite. There's other ways to do it through forum posts and the like. If you don't own an EVGA product,
Mm-hmm.
it is accessible to everyone in one way or another. But it's going to give you that first 24 hours of the queue, which is pretty critical. So the queue order, we had said that the old version was based on time. The new Q 3.0 is based on multiple factors, not just the sign up time. They've introduced a new thing called EVGA scores, which I will get into in a moment. But basically, if you do sign up for the notify, at some point when the card is available to you, you will get an email, and from that point, you will have 24 hours to purchase it through the link in the email. So all new graphics cards going forward will use this system. So the order of the queue is first based on EVGA score. Like I said, I'll get into that in just a minute, but that is the primary factor driving when you will get your notification. That's the most important thing, is your EVGA
Mm-hmm.
score. And the EVGA score is based on a few factors, but the value of your registered products is one. However many EVGA bucks you've earned, which is part of what they call the EVGA Associates program, and blue ribbons for forum posts. And what that means is if you are a participant on the EVGA forums and you post something that's particularly helpful or informative, the moderators there can handpick messages that they find useful to the community and give you a blue ribbon for that. That's actually going to improve your EVGA score and therefore help you get a GPU a little bit better. Now, customers are sorted by tiers based on EVGA score, and then EVGA scores are updated on the first of every month now. This is some new information that we didn't know when this program was announced, but
Mm-hmm.
the EVGA score is going to be updated the first of every month, which may move some members up or down a tier. So that's important to know. If you still have some EVGA products that you need to get registered, now's the time to do it, actually, a few days before the end of the month, because that EVGA score is going to update.
Yep.
Following EVGA score, prioritization in the notification system next up is done based on time and date. So this acts as a tiebreaker for customers with the same EVGA score. Thirdly, if a customer has already purchased a 30 series GPU, they are deprioritized in the VGA queue and will become eligible to purchase their GPU after others in their tier purchase a 30 series product. So what that means is this EVGA score system breaks you down into different tiers based on your score. So let's just say there's a tier from 0 to 5 is your score, and then a tier where it's 6 to 10. You might be in that higher tier, but if you've already purchased a 30 series GPU, you have to wait for the people in your tier who have not to claim their cards before your notify comes up.
Because you get deprioritized.
Yeah, it's a deprioritization within your tier.
Mm-hmm.
So the final qualifier for that is that some items are exclusive to EVGA Elite members only, regardless of everything else I've said. So that's a big reason to sign up for Elite. But the three main factors that contribute to your score are the purchases and the price of the registered products, the EVGA bucks you've earned over time, and the blue ribbons you earn on the forum with helpful posts. And that is the latest with the Q3.0. Now, applying that to the 3050 launch, on the launch day, the notify queue was to open for 24 hours before it was open to the public. The first 24 hours were for Elite members. However, the two SKUs that EVGA had, one was $249, one was $329. And the notification queue only opened for the more expensive card, the $329 card. It was not there on the $249 card.
Even though that was available on Newegg Shuffle.
Yeah, so the card existed. It was available through other vendors, but it didn't allow you to sign up for the notification queue on the cheap base card on launch day, which was unfortunate because I think a lot of people anticipating this card said, that's a great card. I have $250 that I'll spend on a GPU.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like, yeah, okay, but we need $80 more.
Exactly.
You know, it's not great for people, just especially when they know this card exists at $249, because that's what all the reviews, that's basically what all the review samples were.
Well, it was $80 because it was $1 per megahertz, right? On the OC.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Okay. 80
They'll
megahertz.
overclock it. Yeah, it's crazy to me, but
yeah. So
yeah, that's pretty much all I have on the queue. Technically, the first card to use this was the 3080 12 gigabyte that came out a week or two prior. But you know, I don't really think that's a card worth talking about too much anyway. That was technically the first SKU to come out since this queue was announced
on the system.
Yeah.
So if I were to, there's a lot of people that wonder, right? How do you raise your score, right? So based on what you and I know so far on our research and our investigation, it appears that having a lot of EVGA products registered does not equate exactly to a higher score. Let me explain. So I know of at least a few people on our Discord that have many EVGA products, and their score is lower than mine. Now, of course, we don't really have a large sample size, and it's like asking people for the credit score, so it's kind of hard to do. But it also appears, we haven't confirmed this at this time, but it also appears that EVGA puts heavy, extremely heavy weight on your score on other things that they don't necessarily talk about, such as your associate's program status, your elite status, and how
they are talking about that now.
Now they are. Initially, they didn't mention anything about it. So it almost appeared that if you bought a bunch of mice and keyboard, like not GPU products from them in the past, you were doing good, because that kind of seemed to be the trend. Then it kind of dawned upon me that maybe it had to do with your other parts of your EVGA, so your forum posts, how helpful you are, the blue ribbons, all that good stuff. but it does not seem to be directly correlated to how much stuff you have from EVGA.
Well, they
So,
do say you get more, you get a higher score by buying 30 series GPUs than you do 20 or 16 or 10. And if you buy a power supply, you get a higher score if you get a higher wattage and higher efficiency power supply. So
aka
the
spend more
product
money.
yeah, exactly. So the product does contribute to the score. Getting a more expensive product contributes more. But yeah, the associate program with the EVGA bucks is a big contribution if you're in that. And anyone can do
Allegedly,
that,
we
by the
haven't
way.
confirmed that yet.
Yeah, anyone can do that though if they want. Basically, the program is this: you sign up to be an associate. It takes away your ability to use a coupon code at checkout, but it gives you a coupon code to share with other people, and they will get a discount for using your code, and then you get a kickback in EVGA bucks for them using that code. So, and that helps your EVGA score, which some people might be interested in doing that, some people might not. But the other thing is the blue ribbons on the forum. So if you're a regular on their forum and you post a lot, you probably already have some blue ribbons, and that contributes to your score. I'm not particularly on the EVGA forums all that much, but I think it's an attempt to get a little bit more traffic going over in that direction, which isn't a bad thing, especially if you like to talk about tech. There's probably some interesting conversations happening over there about the latest cards and all that.
Yeah, for sure. Like, there's, I mean, I think this is a good direction EVGA is going, because no longer do you have to worry about clicking that button literally in fractions of a second. Like, the queues that have been going out, if you've been keeping up with the forum posts, are literally fractions of a second. So let's say they have 1,000 cards. The first 100 are going to go to the first 100ths of a second that got clicked on that button, right?
Well, not to mention, let's say these cards, these notifies have been going live at 9 a.m. Eastern.
Yep.
Everyone jumps on at that time, and the site crashes. And people are refreshing for a half hour, an hour, 2 hours, until the site actually loads so they can get their notify in. It's a huge time-consuming thing if you're just trying to get in line.
Yeah, the
So this
privilege
new
of getting in line.
system, yeah, so this new system puts less weight on date and time, which is awesome, I think. It's just a matter of you have to have an EVGA score, which means you have to buy some EVGA products. But if you don't have a GPU, if you don't have an EVGA product yet, get on the forums and start posting. Maybe you'll get a blue ribbon if you're posting useful information. But either way, it's not going to hurt anyway.
All right, so I don't really have too much more on that because we did cover a lot of it last time. This is just basically the updates to, again, as we learn more about this, we will bring you this more on these podcasts and such, especially as we get updates. Like, for example, this month we, after it launched, we learned that the snapshot is the first of every month. The associates program helps with your score, it appears to, at least, and all these other things that we didn't really know are happening. So going to some questions in chat. By the way, if you have any questions for us at all, just at me or at Mastermind Crypto in chat. We are both here to answer your questions. Some Goblin Loser IDK says, so what if you are a super pleb? Then what? I think that was referring to not having any cards. So if that is the case, so this is interesting. If you have no 3000 series cards and your score is low, we don't know yet, but it appears you might be on the same tier as someone that does already have a card that has a little bit higher score than you. Just a little bit, not a lot. So it's not necessarily a you're screwed. It's more targeting people that don't have cards yet. So then you might ask, well, why don't I just make a bunch of new accounts? Wow, this counteracts that. You need to have a higher score to be guaranteed to get, or have a higher chance of getting a card. So making multiple accounts, signing up for the auto notifies, does absolutely nothing. It just dilutes your chances even higher. Doom Miner says, so if you're a big miner with lots of EVGA products and your brown nose on the forums, you get GPUs. No, not exactly. As we have explained earlier, that does help if you have a lot of GPUs registered on your account. but it's not. That seems to be like less than 25% of your score. It's not a significant portion, not enough to cause a big swing to get you a high spot. It seems that the forum posts really help, but Andrew, you want to just go over real quick how to get a blue ribbon? Just describe that in like a quick summary.
Yeah, so you go on the forums. Let's say someone has a question. Maybe you know the answer. You post the answer in an efficient way that gives a good amount of information and helps the person with the question. Doesn't necessarily have to be a response to a question, but just something that contributes to the topic. And then the moderators on the EVGA forums sees that message and says, well, that was, nice of him to do, or whatever, took the time to get into detail, help someone out. Then the moderator has the ability to give that person or that post a blue ribbon, which is just sort of a way to give recognition in their community. And that in turn contributes to the EVGA score.